Dr. Trevor Miller here with Integrated Health of Indiana, and we're doing the Thursday Talk at 10. And today we're going to discuss PCOS, and we're going to discuss the Dr. Hyman's new book called The Pagan Diet. I finished it up this morning, and the man gives out a lot of great information. If people would eat this way and live this way, a lot of the stuff that really, really plagues us would go away. I mean, that's kind of the basis for what I do here. The functional medicine approach, the food as medicine approach to health and longevity and getting rid of chronic disease. And he really dives into it. And every one of his books, I learn more stuff. I learn how to tweak things a little better. And it just is, I mean, that pursuit of knowledge is such a good thing to do and have. I mean, look at it this way, if nothing else, from a selfish perspective, you are looking at having the ability to increase brain-derived neurotropic factor, which is something that helps with the body's ability to bring fertilizer, allows it to grow. It allows you to take on new things. It allows you to assimilate new things. I mean, it's just absolutely fabulous. So he goes through and he gives the reason why, and the why you should eat this. And Pegan is a play on words. He took the word paleo and he took the word vegan and he just combined them and said Pegan. He tells the story of going in and being on a panel with a vegan doctor on one side. I think the vegan doctor was a cardiologist, and on the other side was a paleo doctor expert. And he's listening to the two go back and forth. And as he's listening to the two go back and forth, he finally goes, well, if you're vegan and you're paleo, I'm the in-between, I must be Pegan. And so he looked at that, and that's what he went with. And that was actually very, very humorous, and, quick thinker. So I highly recommend the book. He gives recipes in here. And, if it takes you out of your comfort zone, that's probably a good thing, because your comfort zone probably isn't a healthy zone. I'm not a big fan on grains, but he talks about just here's a morning quinoa berry bake. And so you're taking some avocado oil, sprouted quinoa, some zucchini, some unsweetened nut milk, water, orange zest, vanilla extract, cinnamon, nutmeg, sea salt, some hemp seeds, some flax seeds, some shredded coconut. If you want a sweetener of some sort, like a honey or a monk fruit, strawberries, blackberries, raspberries, blueberries, pecans, and sliced almonds. And then he teaches you how to bake this in the oven. And as you bake this in the oven, this is something that's good, that's healthy to eat. And you're getting great carbohydrates, you're getting great fiber, you're getting good fats. Your fats are going to come from your avocado oil. Your fats are going to come from your hemp seeds and your flax seeds. And then your carbohydrates are coming from your everything else, the berries and whatnot. So he has some fabulous. Good morning, Kathy. The book has some fabulous recipes in this, and we all just really need to start cooking it at the house, in the home, and doing this, teaching our children how to cook. Michael Pollan is quoted in there as, talking about the lost art of cooking. And with the lost art of cooking, so goes our health. And you can look at, just go and do a little research, and you can see as people have stopped cooking in the home, our waistlines have expanded, our health has decreased, and chronic disease has gotten much, much worse. So I do highly recommend Dr. Mark Hyman's book because it is fabulous. And with my, this is part of functional medicine. So with my functional medicine patients, as we are trying to address whatever disease it is that they have. And so while I am in we're going to start to shift to the PCOS now. And while I am in the Institute for Functional Medicine, I printed off some of their stuff. But if you look at this, oops, kicked my power cord out. If we look at this tree of health or tree of life, and you see all of the organ systems, but notice the organ systems are the branches and the leaves. When we start to look at the signs and symptoms, these are signs and symptoms that the soil and all of that stuff is not good. So the roots of health are all down here. And those roots of health are the things that we have to really, really work on. If you notice, it's got my 4 pillars. It's got the sleep and relaxation, the exercise and movement, nutrition, stress, relationships, all of those things that are the triggers and the antecedents and the things that cause issues. So PCOS, what is PCOS? PCOS is polycystic ovarian syndrome. And when I hear somebody come in with PCOS, I immediately start to think about, okay, how are their fats? How's their stress? What's their insulin? Because these are the first things that start to, what do their lipids look like? Because these are foundational things, and these are the first things that start to go awry, especially with something that has hormonal underpinnings like PCOS. And so, if you work with me, you've probably gone through the NMR, you've seen that we're going to do the NMR, we're going to do a lipid profile on top of that insulin. We're going to see what the blood sugar, what the 6-week average of blood sugar is, which is the A1C. We're going to look into homocysteine. We're going to look at methylmalonic acid. These are B12 things. PCOS, we might do a cortisol. These are the things we won't know exactly what we're going to do until we get in there and you fill out the paperwork. There's, for those patients of mine that are on here, for those that aren't, there's a rather lengthy intake form because that's where the secrets are at. That's where your path to wellness is at. So we got to uncover what is happening with the cholesterol, with how your body's making the hormones. Are you getting too much sugar? You're not getting enough sugar. You're not getting enough sleep. The biggest thing in the United States is insulin resistance. And that insulin resistance causes a lot of oxidation of the fats. And that's why we have increased in adverse lipid issues. So, taking a look at this, and let's just really look at what the difference is between how medicine does this and how functional medicine does this. We start to change right at the differential diagnoses because medically we want to go in and then we want to get an ICD-9 code. Why do we want to give it an ICD-9 code? Because if it has an ICD-9 code, then all of a sudden insurance pays for it. Great. But what happens if it's one of those things that's like a lot of things and it either isn't full blown yet? So for PCOS, signs and symptoms that you're having issues beforehand are heavy menstrual periods, irregular menstrual periods, scanty menstrual periods, tenderness in the breast, lump in the breast. Those types of things are the things that start to happen with this. And so we go into the ICD-9, then we look at the symptoms, and then can we find pathology? And so that's when we start to look at biopsies. That's when we start to look at how do we, is there a cancer here? Uh, but we won't look at nutrition. We won't look at how you can change what is going wrong. And so you're just left to basically your own devices. Then we look at medications and surgeries. What can we give you? What can we wait on? What can we do in the meantime while we're waiting for things to get so bad that we can either go in there and do a surgery, give a medication, or do something like that? Whereas with the functional medicine approach, we're going to look at the differential diagnosis, and we immediately start to say, what's causing the issue? Is it bad fats? Are you getting too much conventional fats, too many conventional foods, too much sugar, too much, whatever the case may be? So we want to look at that, and we want to look at the symptoms, the biological systems. And as we read or look at the biological systems, we want to start to think about what is being affected. Do we have a problem with assimilating the fats? Do we have a problem with getting the things in that we need to make the good hormones and do the things that the body needs to do? Are we having a problem with the repair stages? Are we having a problem with, am I getting that on there well? Do you have the energy to actually do all the processes? Can we detoxify the things that, if you have high insulin, do you have the ability to go in there and clear it out? Circulation, communication, hormones are huge in communication. They are what cue the stages, the circadian rhythm of life. So as that goes through, you look at transportation, structural integrity, all of these things play into PCOS. And they play into every disease. So after we look at the systems, now we want to look at the imbalances. And so what's off? What is not doing its job? And how can we support that and give it help? So whereas with, hello, come on in. So whereas we look at the symptoms and the systems and we start to see where the body is breaking down and not able to do it medically, what we want to do is we want to suppress the symptoms. And so MDs will give you, for PCOS, what are typical meds that they give for those hormonal dysregulations? I know they start with like birth control and things.
Metformin, they do all kinds of stuff.
Metformin, well, they're trying to do the sugars. And so they want to suppress. Now, metformin is in the longevity field, in the longevity stuff. You can say hi, Gracie. Morning.
She had to go talk to Dr. Scott Terry today.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. So when we look at the, where my imbalances in, metformin. Metformin in the longevity field really helps resensitize the cells to insulin. But you really want to have the things in your life going on that help your body get rid of the sugar anyway. So exercise, skeletal muscle is an independent glucose sink, and that will help balance out the hormones. And it helps your insulin, it helps your blood sugar, it helps metformin, it helps all those things start to take care of themselves. But you want to make sure that you're doing the right things. And so when we look at the right order of things, and this is where we're talking about, there I'm off. You start with whole real foods, and then you start to change the lifestyle. Are you not sleeping well? Are you not getting exercise? Are you not supported by a community? What are the things that you need to do that are foundationally set to set you up for a solid life, a healthy life? And then you got to go in and fix the gut. Because guess what? If you have high sugar issues, if you have problems with, um, if your fats are off, if all of that is off, you probably have lipopolysaccharides getting through into the bloodstream. And there's ways to test for that. And that's where we want to get in there and we want to look at what is going on in the body so that we can go in there and help it and fix it. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask away. I mean, that's what this is all about. This is all about an open forum to ask questions. So once you fix the gut, remove the food sensitivities, optimize nutritional status, balance the hormones, and detoxification is the last step. We really always like to jump to detox first. Oh, I'm going to do a liver detox. Oh, I'm going to do a this, that, and the other detox. But the problem with that train of thought is if it's impaired, it's not really going to detox anyway. So take your foot off of the gas, allow the body to start to heal, and then give it what it needs so that it can heal up and then do the job itself. So we are at imbalance in functions, and that's when we start to look at those causes and etiologies. What is it in your lifestyle that is causing this problem with these fats and with these hormones? And that's why we would look at, if you're stressed out, you can't, when you're looking at the tree, you can't sit here and say, oh, hey, my bad poor sleep causes everybody to get PCOS, because that's not true. Your genetics predispose you to things, but your environment is what pulls the trigger. So you may have genetic triggers for or genetic setup for this, but you have to have the things that cause it to go bang. And those are your triggers. So your antecedents would be your DNA, and then you can kind of tell on that stuff is what did mom have? What did grandma have? What did my aunts and uncles have? And you can kind of see that if you live the way that they lived, these are the problems that you're going to have. And so after we start to look at, the causes and we remove the causes, then we want to get everything balanced back out, and we want to get you to the point that you have good fats in your body so your body can do the healing that it needs. And so that's where you're looking at all of those wonderful things like exercise and like learning to cook good meals. And he has great recipes in there. For those of you that joined late, I talked about the Pagan Diet cookbook for the first 5 or 6 minutes. But those are the things that we want to have everybody doing, because guess what? If everybody, this approach does not just affect PCOS. This approach also affects diabetes. This approach also affects, throw stuff out there, PCOS, diabetes. It'll affect
Like
back pain,
like food?
headaches.
Oh yeah, it's
I mean,
everything.
it's everything is related to that. So, like Michael Pollan and several other authors said, as I said earlier, the loss of cooking has created such a dynamic problem in the United States, it's not even funny. So, we are 20 minutes in. Does anybody have any questions? And then, so next week, while they're figuring out what they want to do or say, what do we want to cover next week? Does anybody have any ideas on what they want to cover next week? If you have a question, post it in the Integrated Health of Indiana's Facebook page. We'll see it and be able to answer it. And we'd love to answer those things and help people out.
I'm kind of forgot what we did already. Did we do SIBO?
Not really.
That'd be a good one.
Okay. So for everybody on this next one that's watching this after the live, We next week will do a thing on SIBO, and I will actually put that up in the Facebook thing as soon as we are done here. Well, that's it for Integrated Health of Indiana, the talk at 10. We appreciate it. We'll see you next time. Thank you for taking this time to look into the health of you and your loved ones. This broadcast does not constitute a doctor-patient relationship. It is intended for educational and entertainment purposes only and is not a replacement or substitute for care. If you are having issues, please seek a qualified professional trained in functional medicine. We would be happy to be of assistance with both in-person and virtual consultations. Thank you.